Going back to obviously you reaching out. Great decision, by the way. But
could have made a better decision.
we have the Shreditor. Joe is the editor of this.
Yeah, I'm talking to my future self. It was like 4 a.m. and I went to lift a suitcase and something just went in my back completely, like a nerve. If we look at like a 12-month period, it's definitely probably the most progress I've made in that sort of time period, which is pretty nice to see. I never really pushed up to that weight before, because I suppose the natural thing, again, when you're doing your own training, your own nutrition, it's like as soon as you start to see that bit of body fat, you kind of then pull back and do a mini cut pointlessly and stuff like that. So kind of having someone to then say like, right, let's stick it out, let's keep pushing,
I'm pretty impressed with how far we've got this. Like I say, pictures.
8 o'clock in the morning, I'll have fish and a rice cake.
Okay, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Another episode of Fish and a Rice Cake.
Yep.
I'm Jake.
I'm Jake.
Jake/Dave. And we actually have a special guest today as well. We have the Shreditor.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to introduce
It had
like
to
that.
be. It had to be,
It
didn't
is
it?
such a good name.
You know what though, right? So like even this morning, every time you post like one of your days, like if I put up like one of your transformation on my stories, so many people make like Shreditor looks good, doesn't he? I'm like, they literally no one even knows your real name.
Yeah,
Just
it's
the
weird.
Shreditor.
It's weird how it's just caught on as like a title. I mean, I'll take it. It's a good title. So
I think you've even changed your Instagram now, haven't you?
I have,
Yeah,
yeah.
cool.
So it was funny. The story. I don't know how I came up with it. I think it just kind of naturally happened. Because even when I was like, obviously when we first started, we did like a gaining phase, and I was going to try and do like the Wedgeter.
Okay.
So it kind of came from that, and then obviously then I wanted to change my Instagram name, so I looked up the word Shreditor because I thought, oh, no one's going to have this, and it turns out it's an actual term. So a Shreditor is someone who does like photography, videography, editing, like a bit of everything.
Okay, right.
And I was like, oh, hang on, that kind of makes sense with the like kind of what I do as well. Obviously, I mainly focus on editing, but I want to get more into like photography and stuff like that, and videography and what have you. So
Oh, so it actually works on both, like
exactly,
okay,
but I don't think anyone knows. Anyone just knows.
I didn't know.
No,
I didn't know.
It's one of those names. The first time I saw you put it up, like Insta, I was like, that works.
It's
Like,
fucking mint.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
mint.
So-
And the series has done really well, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. It's kept me honest, and yeah, it's just naturally just like it's quite enjoyable to make. People seem to really enjoy it and watching it and stuff. So yeah.
Brilliant. Well, so to give you a little bit of a background insight into Joe. So Joe is, first of all, the editor of this.
Yeah, I'm talking to my future self.
Which is really weird. So whenever me and Jake record these, so you actually put them together for YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah, I do the YouTube and the Spotify podcast audio bit.
Yeah, but whenever you see like a trailer or like a clip of the podcast, basically the Shreditor here, Joe, is the guy who edits them. You're waving to yourself then. Mate, the amount of times I've done that.
Whacking the mic
it's
is
fine.
yeah,
It's
all
cool.
good.
You're welcome. So yeah, this is a bit of a weird one on that front, but Joe is actually a coaching client of mine. Been with me, I probably want to say must be coming up to a year.
It's just over. I think it was June.
Yeah, okay.
11 months.
So,
No, 13 months.
So 13 months.
Yeah.
And you've been through pretty big journey, really. And obviously we're going to go into like some of the finer details of it and stuff like that. But before we do, tell us a little bit about you then, mate. So tell us about the Shreditor, but maybe not just professionally. So like just
Okay.
generally life.
How early do you want to go? Do you want to go?
Well, we don't need
Take
the whole
us back
life
to your
story, mate.
childhood.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
You know,
Let's go like full down
hey,
the CEO.
Yeah.
What
Hang on, I can't
childhood
think of a sob
trauma
story.
made you the
I was
man you are today?
I was bullied as a child. I wasn't. It just sounds good.
This is great.
Yeah.
This is what's his name? Fucking Steve.
Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah, this is where he's like, oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to make a great trailer.
Okay. It's milk.
Laughs and views.
But yeah, no, I suppose we can probably start from like lockdown-ish, because I suppose that's where I kind of got involved in like the fitness kind of space. So yeah, I was working obviously in a call center at West Ham, the team I support as well, which was an interesting dynamic. And then I was kind of obviously then we was working from home, and it was horrible. It was like obviously a call center, but you're shouting at like an old school, like, you know, the laptops they would give you in school that, or like, and they're like super old, and you're like shouting through the laptop. You don't know what's going on with the games, because obviously every game's just getting cancelled. So it was a nightmare. But at the time,
So you're actually working at the club.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay, cool.
I
Right,
worked
right,
at West
okay.
Ham for
Yeah,
just
yeah.
over 2 years, which was, it was cool. I got to go to a lot of the games. I was actually in charge of a lot of the away games.
Okay, cool.
So got to go to quite a few of those, and yeah, obviously went Frankfurt as well. That was a pretty big one as well. But yeah, so I was working there for 2 years in the ticketing office, and then it was just a nightmare. As I said, working from home, it was horrible. So I was like, right, I need to do something. And then at the time, they've recently just shut down actually PT Collective. I was like, right, they was doing like a 6-week intensive course to get you level 2, level 3. So I was like, oh, I'll
Assuming
get
you
him.
probably know Tom Hall then.
Yes, yeah. So I worked with Tom, and then so I did my like level 2, level 3. It was all just run by Luke at that point, and then did that. Got my qualifications. I was like, right, I'm gonna do PTing or even online coaching was on my mind, and then sort of a few months had passed. It was kind of still that weird period where it was like lockdowns, not lockdowns, kind of bouncing back and forth between that. But I'd quit West Ham and I was like, right, I'm going to be a PT. And then Luke had actually sent me a DM and was like, look, I'm looking for an intern. Like we kind of got along really well on like the live calls.
Yeah.
I was kind of always like being proactive in the chat, and we just had built a good relationship from that. So literally just sent me an Instagram
So
DM.
did you do the whole 6-week intensive thing online because it was right? Okay.
That was the only option. Yeah, so I got to do my exams online, which was pretty nice.
Yeah.
Obviously made it a piece of piss to finalize.
Google.
Yeah. Didn't really have to revise for anything, but unless someone's watching, then I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, so did all of those online, and then Luke literally just sent me a DM and was like, "Hey, I'm looking for an intern. Don't really know what the role's going to be, but just come down, see if you like it." So did that, and then basically did an internship for a full year there, just doing like loads of different things, like managing students, like sending out. They'd get like little boxes when they signed up, managing that. Responding to emails, a bit of editing, a bit of content creation as well.
I was going to say, because that's kind of how this whole like the Shreditor started, really, wasn't it? This was the birth of the Shreditor.
It was, So I was there. I'll speed up the story.
Yeah.
So I was there for a year. Then the second year, I got sort of more of a job as in the content side of things, and then that's when I started just literally just editing on the side. First was, I think Dynamite might have actually been my second client.
Okay.
So that was quite a big one. Yeah. Obviously kind of didn't really know them, but like they knew the PTC and stuff. Yeah. So it was,
they knew Tom, didn't they? Because obviously Dan's very good mates with Tom and
exactly stuff. Yeah. So it was kind of, I just messaged, I think it was Dan at the time, and then was just like, I noticed they was doing the podcast, I could do it into clips and stuff. And then it kind of just took off from there. Luckily, I mean, those guys helped me a lot in terms of referring me. Obviously that's probably how you found about me.
Yep.
At the time.
I mean, because we've been working, although you've been a client of mine for a year.
Yeah.
I've actually been a client of yours for probably about 2, maybe
more.
November.
I can remember exactly when it was because
you were traveling. You were in Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. It was November 2022.
There you go.
So, because that was when basically I was still working at PTC during that time, but then it got to the point where I was kind of earning as much as I was earning there on the side. So I quit literally November 1st.
Yeah.
And then, the rest is history. And then since then, I've just kind of been online editing for online coaches.
Yeah, exactly. So and we're actually going to do an episode after this about kind of editing and how you can potentially help coaches as well, because I think a lot of coaches listen to this.
Yeah, sick.
Right, wicked. So there we got the birth of the Shreditor. So, so in terms of outside of like that stuff, fitness wise, so when you first came to me, obviously the goals were to build some muscle tissue, and we'll go into a bit more detail there. But have you always trained then? Have you always been interested in the gym? Have you played sports?
Always growing up was playing sports, pretty much just what everyone does in the UK, just playing as many sports as you can, football, rugby, cricket, all that kind of stuff, mainly football. Yeah. And then got into lifting weights at probably like 16, 17, just doing the standard, like just training arms and shoulders and all that good stuff. Obviously being like I was quite skinny and stuff, so it was always just about building muscle. Yeah. And then sort of like ages 18 to 20, I took it like pretty serious and actually saw like quite a bit of decent growth. But then post that, so I'm 20, how old am I now? 24. So post like that, it was kind of, I was traveling a lot, but also like just wasn't really prioritizing. I was kind of doing the minimum. I was never like out of shape, but I was never really in shape. And I think that's what kind of prompted me to reach out to you. It was like, I'm working from home. I can literally go to the gym whenever I want. I can eat whatever I want. Like I should be in better shape for my circumstances. So that was kind of the thing that prompted me to, I was like, you know what, like I'll just message, I'll get a coach, because I was doing the same things what everyone does. Like I knew what I was doing in the gym, but I'd always change the workout slightly to favor what whatever I wanted to do at that time. I'd always skip abs at the end or skip calves or anything like that. So yeah, it was kind of just a thing to hold me accountable, and I just thought I'll try it. If it doesn't work, then
it's actually good for people to hear that, because that's probably one of the things we talk about the most in our normal kind of ranty episodes, is the fact that it's people don't have a lack of knowledge. Like, you definitely don't have a lack of knowledge. Like, you've got the understanding, you know exactly what to do, you understand how to train, what to do with your nutrition. But it's more than that, and it's just actually the accountability and the structure, and actually, right, okay, here's what we're going to do. I just need you to go and do it, right?
sure. And I think it's where my job's quite creative. I'm always kind of like thinking of stuff. So then it would come to the gym and I'd just be so mentally exhausted that I would kind of, again, just like palm it off to the side.
Yeah.
But just having someone just kind of literally tell me, right, just do this in the gym, just eat this, was quite nice.
Yeah.
Because I don't get, like, sometimes even when I just do like admin jobs for my work, it's quite like exciting because I can kind of just switch off and do that. So it was kind of that with the gym also. It was just like, right, go in the gym, do these workouts, eat this food, and you're good.
But it's the same for us, isn't it?
I was going to say, like, that's why we've had coaches, because we spend all day doing check-ins for people, writing training plans,
Talking about
nutrition plans,
fitness.
talking about fitness, doing this shite.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, it's like, now I've got to sort my own thing out. And it is, like you were saying, it just so easily gets pushed right to the back, doesn't it?
Sure.
100%. But yeah, no, so going back to obviously you reaching out, great decision, by the way. But
Could have made a better decision.
To be fair, Jake had come on with me as a client as well, so
yeah, he had to. His hands were tied. He did say to me in the call, I was going to reach out to the other Jake, but he doesn't pay me. No. But no, your goals are very different, because you know the vast majority of my clients who come in, the initial thing, of course, is to lose weight, to lose body fat. Whereas with yourself, obviously you were quite lean already, and we knew that we had to add some size. And I remember distinctly on the call, although we spoke about City and West Ham for the vast majority of that call, because European champions.
Hey.
It was West Ham won European champs.
Yeah, well,
well, we did, but everyone puts an asterisk on it because it was like, so you got the one Man City will win, then you've got the one below that, and then they made like a new competition like 2-3 years ago for all the teams.
It's not the Europa League then.
They've
one below.
It's called.
Oh, okay.
There's one below the Europa League.
Right.
To be fair, the year before we got to the semi-final of the
Europa League,
which was massive.
That's good.
Yeah. And then and then we qualified for the other one the next year, and then we did win it. So yeah.
It was pretty big, wasn't it?
It was terrible for me though, because I was in Australia at the time, and then
how many places have you been to? Because every time I see,
we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this.
Every single time I see you're in a different country.
Yeah, I'm all over the place. But so Australia was a nightmare, because it was like I had to watch the game at like 4 or 5 p.m. But then I ended up in hospital. So it was like 4 a.m. and I like went to lift a suitcase, and like something just went in my back completely, like a nerve. But obviously I was with my girlfriend at the time, and she was a doctor, so it was quite handy. So she said, you've either pulled a nerve or you've like punctured your lung, because like I couldn't really like breathe properly, so that was like a concern. So we ended up going to the hospital, ended up being nothing. It was just like a pulled nerve, so it lasted a week, so it was fine. But I just told her to take my phone because I didn't want to see any spoilers. So it'd been about 13 hours after the game, and I'm literally in like a little ferry point, like watching it on my laptop on like a dodgy site that shows you the game back, and like, yeah, it was not actually a great.
He scored. It was Bowen, wasn't it?
But in like the last minute, I didn't really want to jump up in the ferry point and like celebrate.
Fucking spaz your back up again.
Luckily, it was Australia because they don't really care about football, so I got away with it.
But yeah, so your goals, like I said, were very different. It was to build some muscle tissue, which, like I say, is different for most people. But you were, I remember, like I say, going back to that call, you said, I want to take advantage of my age, right? Which was, I remember it kind of always stands out, because that was the same as me when I was young. I was like, oh, you kind of look like a natural test at that moment in time, like. And so that was the plan. So you're always someone. Would you say you've always struggled to put weight on / muscle on? Have you always been on the slimmer side?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, maybe when I was like 4 or 5, I was a chubby kid, but then straight after that, I've always been lanky and whatever you want to call it. But yeah.
Okay. So we went into a gaining phase, and I've got it in front of me. We started around about 79 kg. Mm-hmm. 6 months. We had about 8 kilograms, I think. We got to about, I think our heaviest was about 87.9, I think was the average that we got as the highest. Yeah. I think we did break into the 88s.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good going. And the thing is, obviously most people, we've all been there, like done the dirty bulks and stuff like that. And most people, when they go into a gaining phase, it's just about eating food And there's no real structure around it. It's just eat food, train hard, put on size. And naturally that just ends up in gaining a lot of body fat. Now, don't get me wrong, we put on a little bit of body fat, but actually you, even at 88, there was still definition of, like, you know, around the midsection, and you were still pretty well defined upper body wise. So when we talk about, even going on the previous episode, like we spoke about, you know, that foundation, like Joe's obviously a different starting point for most people, but if you go into a gaining phase from a good position, you can still remain fairly lean throughout. And that's what we did. And that was always the goal, right? Because we didn't want to just gain body fat. We wanted to make sure the weight that we're adding was muscle tissue. But how did you find that?
Yeah, really good. It was a unique experience. I never really like pushed up to that weight before, because I suppose the natural thing, again, when you're doing your own training, your own nutrition, it's like as soon as you start to see that bit of body fat, you kind of then pull back and do a mini cut pointlessly and stuff like that. So kind of having someone to then say, like, right, let's stick it out, let's keep pushing, keep pushing. And then obviously towards the end of it, it gets to the point where you're kind of like forcing meals in and stuff, which wasn't fun, but it's just one of those things that kind of had to be done. There was always kind of like the end point of that, so it was pretty easy to see. So yeah, I enjoyed it for sure. I mean, I'm two days out from a photo shoot, so I'm now thinking
you're missing it.
I'm thinking
Reminiscing.
like, oh, it was so easy. I remember, but funny enough, I remember the first month of dieting, I loved it so much because I was just like, I don't have to force meals in. But yeah, now I look back on like the days where I think the most calories I ended up eating was about 3,500 a day.
Yeah,
it's not that much, but it was still like quite a lot for me anyway.
I think it depends on how you're approaching it. Obviously, we're trying to get the vast majority of those calories from like good places, right? And that's when it becomes difficult. So towards the end, you know, I was just like, mate, if you want a fucking chocolate bar, have a chocolate bar. If you want to go out and have a burger, have a fucking burger. You know, just go into like German markets around Christmas time.
Yeah, I smash those.
And I was like, mate, just go to fucking town. Like, go out this weekend untracked and just go wild.
Yeah. I talk about like when the height of my gaining phase, I think I got up just shy of 5, and I was literally adding like full-on garlic baguettes to meals, like just to get calories in.
Yeah,
I was like, you do anything, don't you? It doesn't really. By that point, because you're already getting so many calories in from decent food, you kind of just like the excess. You just need to get it.
Just need to get it in. 100%.
Yeah, and it was. I quite like pushing my first meal back naturally, just because like if I work in the morning, I prefer it, and it was like kind of like trying to smash out like 1,000 calories in the morning, just so that it didn't get late. Because there's so many like evenings I'd be like 7
chasing your ass.
And I'd be like 2,000 calories off, and I'd be like, oh, what have I done? Why did I leave it this late?
Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah. So like trying to act proactively, kind of get them in earlier as well was a big part of it.
Yeah. But you know, you hit the nail on the head, because I think, again, most guys in particular, something that I struggle with when I don't even have the accountability is when you almost have to, when you go into that gaining phase, accept there is going to be a little bit of body fat coming on. And most, you said it there, like the vast majority of the time, if you're on your own, maybe at that stage you got, fuck this, like, I'm out. Do you know what I mean? And
you see that normal cycle, don't you? Where you go into a gain, you eat too much too quick. All of a sudden you're like, I feel a bit fluffy, I feel a bit fat, I'm going to trim down. So then you start to trim down, but then you do that and you're like, now I just feel small and skinny, I need to put size back on. And you just flip-flop between the two.
You flip-flop between the two, which ultimately leaves you in the same position. So like you actually never make any progress with gaining muscle or dropping body fat. And you just stay there.
I think as well, because you grow up, like for me anyway, I kind of grew up on YouTube watching people, and it was like they would almost for content do like 5-month or like a couple months bulk, a couple months cut, and they would do like mini cut series and stuff like that. So it kind of gets ingrained in your head as well. That's the strategy. Yeah. Whereas obviously a lot of them had probably spent like years before not on YouTube, putting on that size and stuff.
That's exactly.
So you kind of got in the right to be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's probably the right way to look at it.
Yeah.
But again, because you're just young and you're kind of impressionable, you kind of just see how they're doing it and you kind of mirror the same thing. So
100%. But no, you smashed it, like absolutely smashed it. And Joe can edit in some pictures of where we started and where we were post the gain.
Post a picture of a teddy.
Yeah. So from that point, obviously, once we got you big, we went into a dieting phase. With obviously the goal, I think we pretty much had the goal of the photo shoot from even kind of early on in the gaining phase. We're like, fuck it, should we do a photo shoot?
Yeah, you kind of mentioned it to me, and I was like, yeah, if you're doing it, I'll probably be up for it.
Yeah,
I've never done one before, so I thought, why not?
It's good for good for content and stuff like that as well. So it was always going to be something which we wanted to focus on. But this was as you say, was something you're probably quite looking forward to towards the back end of the game. But it is still hard, and I think obviously after that first month, you probably realise how difficult it can be. But I think for you, and something you've mentioned there, is how many random places you've lived in throughout this period of time. There's been holidays, but you actually lived in Germany for a lot of it because you were living there with your girlfriend. Yep. You've been in Bali for the last month or so.
2 months.
2 months, there we go. And there's been numerous other trips coming back to the UK, going back to Germany. So there's been lots of back and forth. And I think most people would see the things that you've had to deal with and probably think that's a reason to not really do something like this, because naturally it's going to make it quite challenging. So what were the challenges with traveling and with being in different places?
I'd suppose the unfamiliarity of things, in terms of like even Germany, you'd think like it's quite easy to track out there, but even a lot of things they just don't have. Like they don't have like 5% mints anywhere. It's like just weird little things like that, or like you go into supermarkets and a lot of stuff like they have like the meat sections, almost like a mini butcher's in the supermarkets, and they don't just have like stuff that you can barcode and stuff like that. So it's just kind of like those little things of making that tracking that little bit harder. Bali as well. Bali was probably easier in a sense of like
it's a bit of a fitness place, isn't it?
Yeah, like there's a lot of places with fitness kind of orientated things, so it was kind of easy in that sense. But again, a lot of the places didn't have the calories and macros on it, so it was kind of just like being sensible with my choices. A lot of them you can like kind of build your own plate as well, which for like a super affordable price. So it was kind of, especially like the last week or two, I was literally just getting like chicken breast, eggs and rice just to kind of play it safe. But yeah, I suppose the unfamiliarity of it, the social side of it as well, I think is massive. It's like obviously I don't really go out, but like I like going like breakfast with my girlfriend or things like that. So kind of being sensible in those those situations is important, and it's always awkward to kind of be that person. I know you spoke about it on like a previous episode where it's like maybe you're the person in the office and they're like, oh, still dieting, are you? Or like things like that. So you don't want to be the guy who's bringing up your diet every minute. But it's like people want to. We went out for dinner one night and there was all going to this like cookie place to get cookies after, and it was like, yeah, I'm gonna head home. Because it's just not sensible. So probably those things, because I think I'm quite like a sociable person generally. So then to kind of keep having to say no, because you think people like when you say it to them, they're like, oh, they understand in the moment, they understand, and then like obviously it's not really their lives, so they don't really care. So then they like will just not think about it, and then they'll go, oh, why can't you come? It's only one, and stuff like that. So probably those things.
But you've done pretty fucking well. We'll take that, because you are the Shreditor right now.
I am the most shredded video editor.
Quest to be the most shredded video.
If there's one out there, then I'll just block them.
But we just made allowances as well where we needed to. So I mean, Bali was a little bit different because, like I say, we're in the kind of that kind of final stretch of the diet. So I know there was times when I'd given you on-track days, or said, listen, just go and do this and do that. And I think that's important to understand as well, because yes, there has to be sacrifice, but also when you have got that structure, when you have got a plan, and when we're checking in on a weekly basis, and you're saying, right, Jake, I've got this coming up and I've got this coming up. I think I'd like to think I've always been very fair and been like, well, I'm not expecting to track. Just go and enjoy yourself. Like, take that time if you need it. Like, not a problem at all. Just make sure the other days are on point.
Yeah.
And it's just having that structure, because again, if you were on your own, it's very easy to get in your own head and think, oh, fucked it here. Like, I just, I won't bother. So yeah, wicked, mate. And we're now we're coming into the final stages of that. We're now probably back around about 79 kg, kind of similar to where we started weight wise.
Yep.
But just a very different composition, which again Joe's gonna put on the screen.
Pop on screen.
It's gonna be like flames.
This is gonna be his best edits.
Yeah. I'm gonna just spend hours on this edit.
So yeah, obviously we're in the gritty end of the diet for sure. We've only got a couple of days left, actually, to be precise. So in terms of where we're at, obviously we've got 2 days left until the photo shoot itself. Joe's doing the Biceps Banter photo shoot, which is going to be a good day, hopefully, because England are on afterwards, and fingers crossed it's coming home.
I think it's going to quickly.
Yeah, probably.
I haven't watched any of the games either, because being out in Bali, it's like all the games are either at midnight to 3 a.m.
Oh shit! Yeah,
I'm not going to stay up and ruin my whole day for that.
You've not missed out. Although Turkey Austria, that was a good game.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
That was a nightmare in Germany as well because Turkey people going all around the streets. Like it's got quite a big Turkish culture there.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's
So it was like we came out and it was like just cars driving around everywhere, just beeping the horns, going wild.
There's a bit of rivalry between Turkey and Germany, isn't there? There's like
yeah.
Me and Soph were on holiday in Paris a few years ago, and I think it was maybe Morocco or something that were playing that night. And similar, there's a massive like Moroccan like culture and whatnot population in Paris. And we came out of this bar and the streets were just littered with flags and cars and people like literally hanging out the cars as they're going down, beeping horns. And we were like, what the fuck's going on? And they just won like the first international game against someone for so many years or something. But
where were you then? Sorry,
Paris.
Oh really?
But it was nuts. Yeah. It was absolutely nuts. Like it's just a weird scene when you don't know what's going on. You're like, is something kicking off?
The worst one I had of that was last year I was in Italy. And then we went back to Milan because we was flying for the day, and it was Champions League, and Newcastle were there. So we'd gone like on the
pissed up Geordies.
Yeah, literally we were on this like I don't know what it was like a river. It was quite like an iconic part of Milan. And we were thinking it was like beautiful weather. We're like, right, we'll get a coffee, we'll chill. And there's just flooded with Geordies, and I've just gone, oh no, Newcastle are playing.
Where I man?
It was carnage. So yeah, that was probably my worst experience of something like that.
But yeah, no, so like I say, we're a similar kind of weight, but a very different composition, as we said. And I suppose now's a good time for us just to kind of reflect on the overall progress. So this is where I hope you'll say you're happy with it.
Call him a dickhead. Call him a dickhead.
Yeah.
But no, because, again, obviously we've done this naturally, right? And I think it's good for you to see the
natural.
Edit.
Yeah.
But no, because it's good for you to have been through this to see kind of the work that goes into it, and obviously it's good for people who are watching this, listen to it, to understand what's gone into it. But it's how do you, how are you feeling about it all? Are you feeling like it's gone well? This is hopefully like where you say yes, but yeah.
No, it has.
It's
It's gone really well. It's definitely probably if we look at like a 12-month period, it's definitely probably the most progress I've made in that sort of time period, which is pretty nice to see. And again, I think even just the accountability of like taking the photos and stuff all the time, it helps a lot because you kind of obviously when you see yourself every day, you don't really notice as much. And obviously, like sometimes people will say things, but if you can't see it, it's also then hard to take that on as well. 100%. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I think a big part of it as well is what you guys talk about before is like getting along with your coach as well is so massive. I think that's probably the biggest part of picking a coach, right? Is getting along with them. Because it's kind of just being able to bounce off someone.
Why did you pick me then?
Yeah, I don't know. Desperate times. I thought you were all right. So I was no, but yeah, like a lot of the times, as you said, like on the check-ins, we'll just talk about football or talk about other things, traveling and what's going on with life and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice just to have that person there to kind of bounce off and stuff. So
yeah, no, it's exactly that we talk about all the time, don't we? Like it's when we say if someone's looking to pick a coach, it might not necessarily be me or Jake that they pick because they might find they get on someone else better, and like that's really, really important because like you say, if there's anything that's not gone well or anything, I need you to feel like it's a safe space to then be like open up about it. And there's been times where things haven't gone well, right? And it's about me then going, well, man the fuck up, Joe, and get on with it.
yeah.
Grind harder.
Yeah.
No, but it's exactly that. It's kind of meeting you where you are and going, okay, well, we're just going to work around it this way. And there's been times, there was a time when I think your brother wanted 100% and stuff, and it's like just knowing that you've got that freedom and flexibility to just kind of back off from things, I think is really important. But no, you've absolutely smashed it, mate, and I'm looking forward to getting the pictures this weekend. And
appreciate it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting it done.
Drinking some beers and eating some burgers.
Yeah. It's that phase where you just start getting really weird cravings as well. So
all sorts starts kicking in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Have you done the usual sort of scrolling through Instagram for like different food options?
No, I think Bali's torture enough for that because you're going past all these cafes and stuff. And again, I'm hanging out with people that aren't dieting, so it's kind of that was enough torture for me. I'm not really on like food, and I don't get any food stuff on my Instagram. No. I don't know.
It's probably a good thing.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. But yeah, no, Bali was torture enough. So.
It's funny how it changes, isn't it? Because like you say, at the back end of a gaining phase, you're kind of sick of food.
Yep.
And like you say, you're excited to go into that dieting phase, and then the back end of that dieting phase, you're just like craving the most random things, and it's just like everything smells better. You know, even I bet you're freezing now. You've turned up in England as well. Like
That's a massive part.
Your body fat levels are so low.
Yeah,
you're just cold.
Or
all
like
the
I was
time.
on the train yesterday, and like my bum was getting a lot more sore on the seat because I haven't got the extra body fat there. So that was annoying.
Right. So, what would you say you've enjoyed the most about the coaching process?
Enjoyed the most.
The travel.
Yeah. No, honestly, yeah, that's probably been
a bad thing, to be fair.
No, I think you know what? I'll take that one because it was being able to make progress while still doing the things I wanted to do in my personal life is so big. It's like, again, like you said earlier in the episode, is so many people will think that, you know, if you've got these things going on or you're going away or maybe you work abroad a lot and stuff like that you can't sort of continue to make progress. And maybe it's not a case of, you know, if I stayed in England or stayed in one place the whole time, I know I could have made more progress. But ultimately, it's like I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not like a physique athlete or whatever. So it's not my priority. So still being able to kind of make that visual progress while still being able to enjoy everything else has
live your life as well.
Yeah, it's been a big part of it.
And again, we're talking about all the time, don't we? But that's the thing, right? Because people think they need it to all just kind of like the fucking the waves to part and everything to just fall in place, and it's never going to happen like that. So you might as well just start chipping away, and even if it's not perfect, you're still going to make progress. And Joe's progress is pretty good, so he's a good example of that. So, is there anything that you haven't enjoyed about the coaching process? If there's not, like
it's so hard not to make a joke.
It's fantastic. No, the only thing that sort of springs to mind is just the kind of having to deal with other people's opinions. I suppose like when you're kind of like lean and stuff, everyone's kind of always saying like,
"Oh, you need to put weight on,"
or you need to be weight, or like, "Oh, do you need to like you're already lean, like you don't need to go that bit further and stuff." And it's just kind of having to keep explaining like I'm doing this photo shoot. I want to try and obviously get in the best shape I can for it. Yeah. It's only a temporary thing. Again, it was just probably that the social side of things, having to say no to things is something.
I think everyone would say the exact same thing, to be honest.
I think when I've had Ryan and Anise on, they said the same thing. Like, it's the comments from people like, "Oh, you're starting to look gaunt in your face. You need a bit more food," and like friends questioning it, like, "Oh, you're lean enough." But when we always say, and you'll probably find the same thing, when you get those photo shoot pictures back, and I don't know, you might put some on socials, you might just show your mates. It's those same people that they're like, "Fucking hell, Joe, you look amazing. How have you done that?" And you're like, "You've just been watching me do that." You know how I've done it.
You will, 100%. 100%. And it is the hardest thing, without a doubt. And they're like you say, even just you being in Bali and going out for a beer and going out for a burger and you having to make sensible choices and stuff and always kind of looking like the outlier for like prioritizing yourself, which is a weird thing, right? But yeah, 100%. I think most people would say the same. So I suppose what's next, because you dropped a little bit of a
Is it next, or I don't know. I just needed an excuse to get the shooting. No,
it was a great piece of content, mate.
It was,
you know, the fighting one.
Yeah,
I was like,
oh, you didn't know about that?
What?
You didn't know? I didn't know, obviously, but I assumed you might have.
No, I didn't know about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, that was more between us watching. It was, I just wanted to do a kickboxing session, and then I'd met a photographer the week before, and I was like, "Oh, do you want to come and help me do this shoot?" Because it was just a case of I'm probably the most lean I've ever been, so why not just get some extra? I know we was talking about it off camera. Yeah, just make the most of it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what was going to happen moving forwards.
I think realistically, from a coaching perspective, I certainly just want to let you enjoy life a little bit, you know, and we spoke about it in the previous episode. If we can we understand that you're not going to maintain this level of leanness because that'll be very, very difficult, and it would also be pretty boring, so you won't want to. But if we can keep you within a couple of weeks of that, from being in the kind of condition you want, whilst again, going just reintroducing some more socials, eating a bit more food, enjoying your training again, because again, training takes a bit of a hit towards the back end of a diet.
That was pretty shit.
Because you saw the good side of it when you were gaining, right? Where you're always like training always feels quite good because you're recovering well, you're eating more food. So it's just bringing that stuff back now, right? And just letting you enjoy life a bit more whilst making sure we don't go too far with it at the same time. And
just don't fuck it.
Just don't fuck it, yeah. Essentially, like that is the right way to put it. And then, at the end of the summer, maybe we'll get to like September or something, we go, cool, right, well, we're in a really good position. As we mentioned in the previous episode, we maintained we've got the foundations to kind of do whatever the fuck we want there. And that's exactly what the goal's going to be from a coaching perspective. But basically, Joe's having a fight. No, you're not.
Yeah. No, I hinted at just like, doing some. I do want to get more back into the martial arts. I think it's, especially when dieting, it was kind of just the case of I had to prioritize the kind of aesthetic kind of side of it, doing the calories, doing the cardio, doing the weight training. So it naturally kind of just tapered off a bit.
Yeah, because when we first started, you were doing quite a bit more jits, weren't you?
Yeah, quite a bit of jiu-jitsu. And then that was a weird situation because I was doing jiu-jitsu, which I'd done for like a year, 18 months before, but then I was doing it in German, which obviously I don't really speak. So kind of I'm lucky that. Nicht so good. But yeah, so I was kind of like doing lessons. So that was always a bit of a not so fun part of it. It was like I was going, but I didn't really understand what was going on. I knew enough to obviously know the techniques or at least kind of understand. And people were friendly enough there speaking English, but you kind of always feel a bit stupid having to go, oh, sorry, what does that mean? So yeah, but then obviously as we progressed in the diet, it was just kind of a case of prioritization. Is that what?
This is the diet brain here.
Yeah, there we go.
Like...
It don't beat libido effect, so
No.
he meant to say, we've just done an episode, he meant to say placebo effect, and instead he said libido effect.
Wow. Well,
getting the people horny, mate. But
yeah.
So no, absolutely. And I think, like you say, it's one of those things where, we spoke about it before, performance does naturally just dip.
Yeah, massively.
And like you probably go into the gym now with zero pump and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but it's only really in the last sort of 2 to 3, maybe 4 weeks at a push, isn't it?
Yeah, because especially where I was in Bali and like everyone, it was mad. You go out there and it's like you're in a gym and it's like everyone's like in fitness model shape. It's wild. So I was like kind of going out there and like feeling good, and then it was good in a way. Like you kind of get humbled a bit, but then also I wanted to train and get a pump, and it was just not there. But I know.
So, top tips to anyone who might be thinking about going through a similar process to yourself?
I think it was just that case of looking back on X amount of months that you've been doing. Are you doing have you really made any progress? Are you kind of just spinning your wheels? Is it a case of you're going a bit not easy on yourself, but just not really like it's always an afterthought, are you just kind of like going through too many peaks and troughs with training, which still happens with a coach, but then how big are those like troughs compared to when you have a coach is probably not as dramatic. So I think honestly just give it a go. The good thing with coaching is just like it's just like a kind of monthly expense. So I think that's quite nice. So you can kind of just give it a go. And, as I said, if you get along with the coach, it'll probably just naturally work out. So yeah. Just do it.
It's one of them, and it's like you say, we're not what I mean, I'm going to be really bad at selling us here, but we're not telling you anything that you don't know. We're not giving this magic secret to getting into shape. We're literally just looking to like bring your standards up over time, and if you like you say you just bring the average up over time, you're going to get better results. And literally 90% of that is just the accountability of checking in with someone, speaking to someone, being open about things, and that is literally the game changer.
Yeah, and just saving that mental energy has been massive as well for me. It's just not having to think about training and just being able to just go to the gym and just do what I'm told is really saves me a lot of energy. So
100%.
I appreciate that side of it.
Well, mate, you have been a brilliant client. I'm pretty impressed with how far we've got this. Like I say, pictures. But no, honestly, it's been great, mate. I'm looking forward to the shoot at the weekend. And also, thank you very much for coming on the podcast for the first episode, at least.
Yeah.
We've got another one to do now.
We do.
So yeah, do you have? Oh no, I did have a couple of questions actually.
I got questions in. Wow.
Yeah, you got questions in.
Decent.
Fucking hell, we're about to finish the episode then without the questions. So,
super fans have come in. My mum, my brother, my girlfriend.
So, who is the second most shredded editor on the podcast?
Can I ask who's sent that in?
Yeah, Dale Burgess.
Ah, okay. I thought it might have been my brother because he's kind of getting into a bit of editing, so I thought he would try me. Who was the second most shredded video?
Do you know any?
I don't know. I suppose when you're so high up, it's hard to. Yeah, I'm kidding. There's probably some out there. Probably not as well though, because I mean, editors are just naturally like you're sat at your desk a long time, so it's probably a job easily to not be in shape. So.
That's probably something we should have spoken about. But yeah, like you are literally sat at your desk all the time, aren't you?
Yeah. So no clue, but. What did you say on the previous? A lion doesn't compare the. I'm
God, we need to bring you down a bit.
Yeah.
So I suppose we kind of spoke about this, but how have you found dieting in Bali?
Yeah, it was just probably the OCD-ness of not having the exact macros is like probably a bit of a pain, but other than that, it's pretty straightforward. It's very fitness friendly, but as well, like a lot of things you don't realize how there was Wanderlust.
Yes, yeah, the big CrossFit style gym.
Yeah. So we live sort of around the corner from there, so we'd often order stuff, and like my girlfriend got like protein pancakes from there, thinking it would kind of be like reasonably and it was like 900 calories for them, and she didn't realize sort of like until like a few weeks after. I mean, she's not like heavily tracking or anything like that, but she's pretty good, like she's on top of it, and like she was like, oh, that's probably why I feel so like horrible and like heavy after them, because you would think, oh, they're protein pancakes, what, like 400-500 calories max, and it's like double that. So it was just kind of just sticking with the safe options, and
we just adjusted things, didn't we? Because like in an ideal world, like quote unquote optimal world, we'd have someone tracking macros perfectly for the last kind of month or so, certainly into a shoot, wouldn't we? I say perfectly, but tracking carbs and fats. Whereas with you, we just went protein and calories, and we just like, right, be sensible.
Yeah,
as you said, you were making good choices.
Best decision as well, because then it kind of saved me the stress of like trying to work out all the carbs and fats.
Like, it would have been near impossible.
Yeah, like calories and protein is pretty doable, because it's just like, right, you look at that meal and you're like, it's probably about 600 calories. Again, I do have experience with that, so maybe that's part of it as well. But yeah, just being able to look at a meal and then kind of going, right, I think that's the thing I said to you was tracking, overestimating calories and underestimating protein, because then it was like you're kind of always in a safe spot.
But a lot of our clients, again, like sometimes if people think if they can't track it perfectly, what's the point in tracking it at all? When it's like you're like literally a prime example of that you can still just loosely track and get amazing results. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. When we ask people to track, it's not a perfect number anyway. It's just the most accurate way
you
do it.
Get like 5% either side roughly. Yeah. Like we're good.
Because you got the thing where it's like food labels can be like 20% out anyway. So technically you're always wrong.
I think restaurants can be like 20% wrong. So like
especially out in Bali as well. There were certain things on the menu and I was just like, that is not that amount of calories.
100%.
Yeah, it was just like it was something, and it was either stupidly high or stupidly low, and it was just like
didn't make sense.
I'm not having that. So yeah.
And then the final one, did he get Bali belly, and did it contribute to help getting him shredded?
I did get Bali belly. It was funny. So it was the one weekend. So I stayed in a villa with my girlfriend, my brother, and his girlfriend. And it was the one weekend where everyone had gone. I was there, and I actually got it from Ice. We would go on like runs, and then we'd go to like this sort of cafe on the beachfront and just get a coffee and water afterwards. So I had a water, and then I like drank obviously the water with ice, and then presuming I was right, but instantly I knew, because I sort of got back on the bike driving home, like 15-minute drive, and then I was just like, yeah, something's not right. I kind of felt a bit lightheaded, and my stomach was going. I was like, yeah, because I had food poisoning in Thailand before, which is that's all Bali belly is, just food poisoning. And then I just instantly knew. So
yeah, it's always the water. When I was traveling South America, when we went to Bolivia,
right,
they say basically don't have any salad or anything in Bolivia, because they wash it with the water, and the water's what's called the parasites. So really you just want to have like meat and like well cooked meat, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I didn't realise that. So like the first day I had like a bit of salad with my food. Fucking hell, I was so ill. Like I can't even explain it. I didn't get out of bed for like 3-4 days.
No, it's a horrible ill as well. Like you're vomiting and obviously coming out the other end as well. But also I had this weird thing. It only lasted about 24 hours for me, so it wasn't worse. But like my whole lower body was just like excruciating pain. It was that bit was horrible, more so than the vomiting and stuff.
Grim, innit?
Yeah. But I was lucky in that sense that I suppose no one was there, so I could kind of just in and out of the bedroom, could kind of be a bit of a slob for the 24 hours. I was kind of wiped out. The next day obviously still trying to get back up to things, but yeah, did it help me get shredded?
That was the secret. That was
that
it.
was it. Just
The
tactically,
tapeworm.
tactically dropping in a bit of Bali belly every now and then. Just,
you were fat before then, Bruce.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know what? I would actually use it to save calories, so then I could just overeat then on the next day. It was all tactical, but no, yeah.
Well, that about wraps it up, mate. So thank you very much for coming on.
Lovely stuff.
Thanks for the hard work. Thanks for being a great client, and let's get pissed at the weekend.
Let's do it. It's coming home.
Cheers, guys. See you in a bit.